the Bible. It's more than just a religious text for billions, it's a cornerstone of Western civilization, a book that has shaped laws, art, literature, and philosophy for centuries. Even if you don't consider yourself religious, its stories and teachings are woven into the fabric of our everyday lives. From common phrases to moral concepts, the Bible's impact is undeniable. But beyond its obvious influence, it's also a book full of surprises, mysteries, and enigmas that often go unnoticed. Whether you're a devout believer or simply curious about history and culture, the Bible offers a treasure trove of fascinating facts. Today, we're going to dig into some of these biblical curiosities, starting with the very beginning. Let's kick things off with fact number 1, ancient origins. Before paper and pencils as we know them, how do you think people wrote down such extensive texts? The Bible, in its earliest forms, was written on materials like papyrus and animal skins, rolled into scrolls. Imagine the painstaking effort involved in preparing these materials and then carefully transcribing every word, often by hand. This wasn't a quick process. There were no printing presses, no instant copies. Each word was a labor of love, passed down through generations, making the preservation of these ancient texts truly remarkable. It gives you a new appreciation for the sheer dedication involved in bringing these stories to life and ensuring their survival. Moving on to fact number 2, let's talk about Eve. Most people know Eve as the first woman, the one who shared the forbidden fruit. But have you ever considered the meaning behind her name? In Hebrew, Eve means she who gives life. Adam gave her this name, recognizing her role as the mother of all living. It's a powerful name, symbolizing procreation and the continuation of humanity. It's a small detail, but it speaks volumes about the early understanding of her significance in the biblical narrative. It highlights her fundamental role, not just as Adam's companion, but as the source of all future generations. Now, for fact number 3, we're heading to one of the most famous showdowns in history, David versus Goliath. Everyone knows the story. Young David, armed with a slingshot and a few stones, takes down the giant Goliath. It's a classic underdog tale. However, there's a detail often overlooked. While David's stones certainly brought Goliath down, the Bible tells us in 1 Samuel 17:48-51 that Goliath was ultimately killed by his own sword. David ran over to the fallen giant, took Goliath's own sword from its sheath, and used it to finish him off and cut off his head. It adds a layer of poetic justice, doesn't it? The symbol of Goliath's strength ultimately became the instrument of his downfall. It's a small but significant twist to a story we all thought we knew so well. Finally, for fact number 4, let's consider the word Bible itself. It might surprise you to learn that the word Bible doesn't actually appear anywhere within the biblical text. The term we use today comes from the Greek word biblia, which means books or writing papyrus. It was first used to describe the collection of sacred texts by Constantine, the Roman emperor, in the 4th century AD. So, while the content is ancient, the name we commonly use for it is a later addition. It's a testament to how language evolves and how even the most established terms have their own history and origins. This collection of scrolls and writings eventually coalesced under a single overarching name, signifying its unity and importance as a complete work. These initial facts merely scratch the surface of the many hidden gems within the Bible, a book that continues to reveal new layers of meaning and intrigue. These initial facts merely scratch the surface of the many hidden gems within the Bible, a book that continues to reveal new layers of meaning and intrigue. Let's delve deeper into some more unexpected revelations. For fact number 5, prepare for something truly unusual regarding God's commands to his prophets. We often think of prophets as revered figures, but their tasks weren't always straightforward or pleasant. Take Isaiah, for example. In Isaiah 20:2-3, God commanded him to walk around naked and barefoot for 3 years. Yes, you heard that right. 3 years. This wasn't some personal penance. It was a prophetic act, a living parable. God intended this shocking display to symbolize the coming humiliation and captivity of Egypt and Cush at the hands of the Assyrians. Imagine the courage, or perhaps the sheer faith, it took for Isaiah to obey such a bizarre and public directive. It shows a side of divine communication that is far from conventional, highlighting God's severity and his willingness to use extreme measures to convey a message to a resistant people. It forces us to consider the often uncomfortable and challenging nature of prophetic ministry. Moving on to fact number 6. Let's talk about King Ahaz. Most people don't associate ancient biblical figures with modern timekeeping devices. However, King Ahaz is a unique case. He is the only biblical figure depicted with what appears to be a clock, or at least a sundial, with steps that measured time. In 2 Kings 20:11, during the story of King Hezekiah's illness, God performs a miracle by making the shadow on the dial of Ahaz go back 10 steps. This dial was likely a sophisticated sundial, an advanced piece of technology for its era, demonstrating a level of astronomical and engineering knowledge that might surprise many. It's a small detail, but it places Ahaz in a surprisingly modern context, suggesting an interest in precise timekeeping long before the invention of mechanical clocks. Fact number 7 touches on a topic that remains relevant today: tattoos. Many people wonder about the Bible's stance on body art. Leviticus 19:28 states, "You shall not make any cuts on your body for the dead or tattoo yourselves. I am the Lord." This verse is often cited as a blanket prohibition against tattoos. However, it's important to understand the context. In ancient Near Eastern cultures, cutting and tattooing the body were often associated with pagan mourning rituals or idolatrous practices, marking devotion to other gods or honoring the dead in ways contrary to Israelite beliefs. The prohibition wasn't necessarily about the act of tattooing itself, but its association with specific pagan religious practices. This nuance is crucial for understanding the historical and cultural context of biblical laws. For fact number 8, let's address a common misconception about the end of the Bible. Many assume that the book of Revelation is the absolute last text written in the Bible. While Revelation is the final book in the canon, the very last part of the Bible to be dedicated to writing was John's detailed account. The Gospel of John and the Johannine epistles are generally believed to have been written later than some other New Testament books, including Revelation, which chronologically might have been penned earlier in John's life. So, while Revelation closes the Bible conceptually, the actual final words to be put to parchment were likely from John's Gospel, offering a profound reflection on the life and teachings of Jesus. Fact number 9 brings us to a remarkable aspect of divine communication: God's own handwriting. In the entire Bible, there's only one instance where God is explicitly said to have written something directly. That was the 10 Commandments, etched onto stone tablets with his own finger. Exodus 31:18 states, "And he gave to Moses, when he had finished speaking with him on Mount Sinai, the 2 tablets of the testimony, tablets of stone, written with the finger of God." All other instances of God's communication involved speaking, dictating, or inspiring prophets to write. This makes the 10 Commandments uniquely significant, a direct, tangible message from the Creator himself, underscoring their foundational importance. Finally, for fact number 10, let's explore the extraordinary longevity of early biblical figures. Before the Great Flood, the Bible records that several individuals lived incredibly long lives. 7 specific figures, Adam, Seth, Enosh, Kenan, Jared, Methuselah, and Noah, are said to have lived over 900 years. Methuselah holds the record, living to a staggering 969 years. This extreme longevity often sparks debate. Some scholars suggest that the term years in ancient texts might have referred to lunar months, not solar years, which would significantly reduce their lifespan to more human-like spans. Under this interpretation, Methuselah's 969 years would translate to approximately 78, 5 solar years. However, the text clearly implies full years, presenting a fascinating challenge to our modern understanding of human lifespan and the conditions of the pre-flood world. Now, moving on to fact number 11, we delve into some texts that almost made it into the Bible but didn't. One such example is the Apocalypse of Peter. This ancient text was quite popular in early Christian communities and was even considered canonical by some, appearing in the Muratorian fragment, which is one of the earliest lists of New Testament books. However, it was eventually rejected by the mainstream church. Why? Because of its intensely grim and graphic descriptions of hell. The Apocalypse of Peter goes into vivid detail about the torments awaiting sinners, depicting punishments that were considered too extreme or even sensational by many church leaders. While it provided a powerful deterrent for sin, its imagery was deemed inappropriate or not in line with the developing theological understanding of divine justice and mercy. Its exclusion highlights the careful and often contentious process by which the biblical canon was formed, reflecting debates over theological accuracy and narrative appropriateness. For fact number 12, let's consider the profound significance of numbers in the Bible. It's not just about quantity. Every numerical fact in the biblical text often holds a deeper symbolic meaning. Numbers in the Bible are rarely arbitrary. For instance, the number 7 frequently symbolizes completeness or perfection, evident in the 7 days of creation, or the 7 seals in Revelation. The number 3 often represents divine fullness, as seen in the Trinity or Jesus' resurrection on the 3rd day. 40 commonly signifies a period of testing or judgment, like the 40 days of the flood or Jesus' 40 days in the wilderness. Understanding these numerical patterns can unlock layers of meaning that go beyond the literal interpretation, offering insights into the theological messages the biblical authors intended to convey. This symbolic use of numbers enriches the text, turning simple counts into profound spiritual messages. Moving to fact number 13, we explore the diverse authorship behind the biblical texts. The Bible is not the work of a single individual, but a collection of writings from over 40 known authors, spanning many centuries. This incredible collaboration across time and culture is one of the Bible's most unique characteristics. Among these authors, Paul stands out, having written at least 13 books of the New Testament, and some scholars even attribute the book of Hebrews to him. His letters to various churches and individuals laid much of the theological groundwork for early Christianity. In the Old Testament, Moses is traditionally credited with writing the first 5 books, known as the Pentateuch or Torah, which established the foundational laws and history of Israel. King Solomon, renowned for his wisdom, is attributed with writing over 3 Proverbs, as well as Ecclesiastes and the Song of Solomon. This wide array of voices, each contributing to a cohesive narrative, speaks volumes about the divine inspiration believed to guide these writers. And for fact number 14, we dive deeper into the varied backgrounds of these biblical writers. The authors of the Bible came from all walks of life, demonstrating that God's message is not confined to any single social class or profession. We find kings like David and Solomon who penned psalms and wisdom literature, reflecting their experiences of leadership and human nature. There were farmers and shepherds, like Amos and David in his youth, whose writings often drew on agrarian imagery and a deep connection to the land. Fishermen, such as Peter and John, contributed their first-hand accounts of Jesus' ministry. Prophets like Isaiah and Jeremiah delivered messages of warning and hope, often at great personal cost. We also find more unexpected professions. A doctor, Luke, who meticulously researched and wrote one of the Gospels and the Book of Acts, scribes who were highly educated in law and scripture, and musicians, who composed many of the Psalms. This incredible diversity of backgrounds underscores the universal appeal and applicability of the biblical message, showing that it speaks to everyone regardless of their social standing or occupation. It's a testament to how ordinary people were used in extraordinary ways to communicate profound truths. Continuing our exploration of surprising Bible facts, we now arrive at fact number 15, which delves into the lengths and sizes of biblical texts. The Bible contains some truly striking contrasts in its dimensions. The longest chapter in the entire Bible is Psalm 119. This chapter is an acrostic poem, meaning each section begins with a letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and it boasts a remarkable 176 verses. It's a lengthy and profound meditation on God's law and wisdom. On the other end of the spectrum, the shortest chapter is Psalm 117, containing just 2 verses. Interestingly, Psalm 117 also holds the unique distinction of being the central chapter of the entire Bible, if you count them all. When we look at books, the book of Psalms is the longest, with 150 individual psalms, totaling an impressive 743 words. This collection of songs and prayers covers a vast range of human emotion and experience. In stark contrast, the shortest book is 3 John, which consists of only 1 chapter and a mere 299 words. These variations in length highlight the diverse literary forms and purposes found within the biblical canon, from extensive poetic works to concise personal letters. This brings us to fact number 16, concerning the organization of the Bible into chapters and verses. While we take it for granted today, the division of biblical books into chapters and verses was not part of the original texts. Most biblical books are now neatly segmented, making it easy for us to navigate and reference specific passages. However, there are a few exceptions to this rule. Shorter books like Obadiah, Philemon, 2 John, 3 John, and Jude are so brief that they are not divided into chapters, only verses. This division system was a later innovation, designed to aid study and referencing. The chapter divisions were first introduced by Cardinal Hugo de Escaro in the year 1238. Later, in the 16th century, Robert Estienne, also known as Stephanus, added the verse numbers that are commonly used today. Before these innovations, finding a specific passage would have been a much more arduous task, relying on memory or less precise methods. These structural additions, though not divinely inspired, have proven incredibly useful for scholars, pastors, and everyday readers alike, enabling a more precise and standardized way to engage with the sacred texts. Moving on to fact number 17, we uncover a significant detail about the number of books in the Bible, which surprisingly varies by denomination. This can be a point of confusion for many. The Tanakh, or Hebrew Bible, which is the foundational text for Judaism, contains 24 books. These books are often grouped differently than in Christian Bibles, but largely contain the same content as the Protestant Old Testament. Speaking of which, the Protestant Old Testament consists of 39 books. When combined with the 27 books of the New Testament, this brings the total for Protestant Bibles to 66 books. The Catholic Bible, however, includes more books. It has 46 books in its Old Testament and 27 in the New Testament, summing up to 73 books. The difference lies in what are known as the deuterocanonical books, or Apocrypha, which are accepted by Catholics but not by Protestants. The Orthodox Catholic Bible often contains even more, sometimes totaling around 50 books in its Old Testament, leading to an overall higher count. This variation reflects different historical councils, theological interpretations, and traditions within various branches of Christianity, each deciding which texts they consider canonical and divinely inspired. And finally, for fact number 18, we explore the rich tapestry of names used for God in the Old Testament. Unlike the singular God, often used in modern English, the original Hebrew texts employ a variety of names, each revealing a different aspect of divine character. One common name is Elohim, which is actually a plural form, often translated as gods or God. This plural form can suggest majesty or the fullness of God's power. Another crucial name is Yahweh, often rendered as the Lord in English Bibles, because its pronunciation became taboo in Judaism. Yahweh means he who is, or he who lives, emphasizing God's self-existence and eternal nature. Adonai, meaning the Lord, is another title of respect and authority. Elyon, meaning the Most High, highlights God's supreme sovereignty. In the New Testament, the focus shifts, and Jesus often refers to God as Father, God-Father, or the intimate Aramaic term Abba, which means Daddy. This evolution in naming conventions reflects a deepening understanding of God's relationship with humanity, moving from sovereign creator to loving parent. This rich linguistic and theological diversity within the Bible continues to fascinate scholars and believers alike, offering endless layers of meaning to uncover. Now let's delve into fact number 19, which takes us into the intriguing world of dreams in the Bible. Dreams are not just random thoughts here. They are often direct messages from God, filled with symbolic meaning and prophetic insight. The Bible describes a total of 21 distinct dreams, each playing a crucial role in the unfolding narrative. It's interesting to note that two individuals bear the same name and are particularly prominent for their dreams: Joseph from the Old Testament and Joseph from the New Testament. Old Testament Joseph, son of Jacob, is perhaps the most famous dream interpreter. His own dreams, foretelling his future leadership over his brothers, initially caused him great trouble, leading to his enslavement. Yet, it was his ability to interpret the dreams of Pharaoh's cupbearer, baker, and ultimately Pharaoh himself that elevated him to a position of immense power in Egypt. These dreams were not just personal, they held national significance, predicting periods of abundance and famine, and allowing Egypt to prepare and save many lives. His story highlights how dreams served as a primary mode of divine communication, guiding individuals and nations through pivotal moments. In the New Testament, Joseph, the earthly father of Jesus, also experiences significant dreams. An angel appears to him in dreams multiple times, providing crucial guidance. First, he is told not to be afraid to take Mary as his wife, despite her being pregnant, not by him. Later, he is warned in a dream to flee to Egypt with Mary and the infant Jesus to escape King Herod's wrath, and then instructed in another dream to return to Israel after Herod's death. These dreams directly influence the safety and upbringing of Jesus, underscoring their vital role in God's plan for salvation. The repetition of the name Joseph in connection with these important biblical dreams adds a layer of continuity and symbolic resonance, showing that God uses similar methods across different eras to communicate His will. Moving on to fact number 20, we consider the incredible span of time it took for the Bible to be written. This was not a single book penned by one author over a short period. Instead, it is a collection of writings spanning millennia. The Old Testament, the older section of the Bible, took an astonishing approximately 1,000 years to compose. This vast period saw various authors, from Moses to the prophets, contributing to its texts, each writing under divine inspiration across different historical contexts and cultures. Imagine the continuity required for these diverse writings to form a cohesive narrative. In stark contrast, the New Testament was completed in a much shorter time frame, roughly 50 to 75 years. This concentrated period of writing occurred after the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, primarily by his apostles and their close associates. They wrote letters to burgeoning churches, gospels recounting Jesus' life, and prophetic visions like the Revelation of John. This shorter composition period reflects the urgency and momentum of the early Christian movement as the message of the gospel spread rapidly throughout the Roman world. The sheer difference in the time frames for writing the Old and New Testaments highlights their distinct historical contexts and purposes. Yet both are integral parts of the unified biblical narrative. Finally, for fact number 21, we look at a rather specific detail: the longest verse in the entire Bible. While many verses are short and concise, one stands out for its sheer length. This is Esther 8:9, which, depending on the translation, contains around 80 words. To put this into perspective, this single verse is actually longer than the shortest psalm, Psalm 117, which has only 2 verses. Esther 8:9 describes the decree issued by King Ahasuerus at the request of Queen Esther and Mordecai, allowing the Jews to defend themselves against their enemies. It details the extensive communication process, translated into many languages and sent throughout the vast Persian Empire, showcasing the bureaucratic complexity and the far-reaching impact of this royal order. This lengthy verse emphasizes the meticulous nature of the record-keeping and the significance of the events it describes, ensuring every detail was accurately conveyed to all corners of the kingdom. Now let's move on to fact number 22, which focuses on the profound number of prophecies concerning the Messiah. For those who study the Bible, it's striking to see how many times the Old Testament points to a future Savior. There are over 300 prophecies in the Old Testament alone that foretold the arrival of the Messiah. These predictions covered various aspects of his life, from his birth and lineage to his ministry, suffering, death, and resurrection. For Christians, the belief is that Jesus Christ fulfilled every single one of these prophecies, providing compelling evidence of his divine identity and mission. Think about the precision required for so many distinct predictions, written over centuries by different authors, to all converge on one individual. It's a cornerstone of Christian faith, demonstrating a meticulously planned divine narrative stretching across millennia. But the prophetic tradition doesn't stop there. The New Testament also contains its own set of prophecies, though these largely look forward to a different event: Christ's return. There are over 500 New Testament prophecies that speak of Christ's second coming, his ultimate victory, and the establishment of his eternal kingdom. These prophecies give hope and direction to believers, guiding their expectations and shaping their understanding of future events. This dual layer of prophecy, both fulfilled and yet to be fulfilled, highlights the Bible's consistent message of God's sovereign plan unfolding through history. It shows a continuous thread of divine communication, guiding humanity from creation to redemption and beyond. Next, we delve into fact number 23, the miracles performed by Jesus. The New Testament specifically records approximately 48 miracles attributed directly to Jesus. These weren't just simple acts. They were profound demonstrations of divine power, often defying natural laws and bringing about immediate dramatic change. From healing the sick and casting out demons to calming storms and raising the dead, these miracles served multiple purposes. They confirmed Jesus' authority, revealed God's compassion, and validated his teachings. Each miracle was a sign pointing to his identity as the Son of God and the promised Messiah. It's important to note that this count of 48 miracles does not include the numerous miracles attributed to God in the Old Testament, such as the parting of the Red Sea or the manna from heaven. Those were God's direct interventions demonstrating his power and presence with his people. The focus here is specifically on Jesus' personal acts within the New Testament narrative. These 48 instances are carefully documented, giving specific details about the circumstances and the impact on those who witnessed or experienced them. They collectively paint a picture of a divine figure with unprecedented power and an unwavering commitment to healing and restoration, laying the groundwork for the Christian worldview of a God who actively intervenes in human affairs. Finally, for fact number 24, we turn our attention to one of the most significant figures in the New Testament, Paul. Paul was an incredibly prolific writer among the more than 40 authors who contributed to the Christian Bible. His letters, or epistles, make up a substantial portion of the New Testament, offering deep theological insights, practical guidance for early Christian communities, and personal reflections on faith and discipleship. From Romans to Philemon, his writings shaped much of early Christian doctrine and continue to influence Christian thought today. Paul's background was unique. He was a highly educated Pharisee who initially persecuted Christians before having a dramatic conversion experience. This transformation equipped him to articulate complex theological concepts in a way that resonated with both Jewish and Gentile audiences. His prolific output is a testament to his dedication and the urgency he felt in spreading the gospel message throughout the Roman Empire. His letters address specific issues faced by fledgling churches, offering encouragement, correction, and profound teachings on grace, faith, and the nature of Christ. His contributions are so extensive and influential that it's hard to imagine the New Testament without his powerful voice and extensive theological framework. He truly stood out among the many gifted individuals God used to pen the sacred scriptures. Moving on to fact number 25. We look at the Bible's remarkable consistency despite its diverse origins. Written over approximately 500 years by more than 40 different authors from various walks of life and cultures, the Bible presents a single, unified story. This isn't a collection of disconnected texts. It's a cohesive narrative spanning creation, humanity's fall, God's plan for redemption, and prophecies of future events. This consistency, often attributed to divine inspiration, is something scholars and theologians have studied for centuries, noting how themes, prophecies, and doctrinal truths intertwine seamlessly from Genesis to Revelation. It's a testament to a grand design, far beyond what human coordination alone could achieve, especially considering the vast time span and geographical distances separating its writers. Fact number 26 brings us to the Bible's unparalleled global reach. It is the most translated book in human history, available in whole or in part in over 300 languages. This incredible feat of translation means that billions of people worldwide can access its message in their native tongue. Organizations like the United Bible Societies and Wycliffe Bible Translators work tirelessly to continue this mission, bringing the scriptures to even the most remote communities. This widespread availability has allowed the Bible to permeate diverse cultures, influencing laws, literature, art, and philosophy across continents, making it a truly universal text. Its enduring power to speak to people from all backgrounds is directly linked to its accessibility in so many languages. For fact number 27, we consider the Bible's historical accuracy. While primarily a religious text, archaeological discoveries have repeatedly confirmed many of its historical accounts, geographical locations, and cultural details. Excavations in the Middle East have unearthed cities, artifacts, and inscriptions that align with biblical narratives, providing external validation for many events described. From the existence of ancient kingdoms and rulers to daily life and customs, archaeology often supports the biblical record, reinforcing its credibility as a historical document. This isn't to say every detail has been proven archaeologically, but the consistent correlation provides a strong foundation for its historical claims. Fact number 28 reveals the Bible's immense influence on Western law and ethics. Many foundational principles of modern legal systems, particularly in Western societies, can be traced back to biblical concepts. Ideas such as justice, human dignity, the sanctity of life, and moral responsibility are deeply rooted in biblical teachings. The Ten Commandments, for example, have served as a moral compass for generations, shaping societal norms and legal frameworks. Even in secular contexts, the ethical framework presented in the Bible continues to resonate and inform discussions about right and wrong, underscoring its lasting impact beyond religious practice. Fact number 29 touches on the Bible's literary diversity. It is not just one genre, but a rich collection of many. It contains historical narratives, poetry, wisdom literature, prophecy, parables, letters, and apocalyptic visions. This literary richness allows it to address the full spectrum of human experience and emotion, from joy and triumph to sorrow and despair. This variety makes the Bible compelling and accessible to different kinds of readers, offering diverse perspectives on faith, life, and the human condition. It's a library within a book, showcasing the various ways divine truth can be expressed. Fact number 30 highlights the Bible's unique claim of divine inspiration. Unlike other ancient texts, the Bible asserts that its words are divinely breathed, or God-breathed, as stated in 2 Timothy 3:16. This claim means that while human authors penned the words, the ultimate source and authority behind them is God Himself. This belief in divine inspiration is central to its authority for believers, implying that the Bible is infallible and authoritative in all matters of faith and practice. It's what sets it apart as sacred scripture. Fact number 31 focuses on the concept of covenant in the Bible. The entire narrative is structured around a series of covenants or solemn agreements between God and humanity. From the covenant with Noah after the flood to Abraham, Moses, and David, these agreements reveal God's faithfulness and His progressive plan for humanity's redemption. The new covenant, established through Jesus Christ, is seen as the culmination of these promises, offering forgiveness and a new relationship with God. These covenants provide a framework for understanding God's interaction with His people throughout history. Fact number 32 points to the Bible's enduring message of hope. Despite detailing humanity's failures and suffering, the Bible consistently offers a message of hope, redemption, and ultimate victory. From the promise of a Messiah in the Old Testament to the resurrection of Jesus and the promise of a new heaven and new earth in the New Testament, hope is a central theme. It assures readers that even in the darkest times, God's love and plan prevail. This message has provided comfort and strength to countless individuals across generations. Fact number 33 reveals the Bible's focus on relationships. The Bible isn't just a book of rules. It's fundamentally about relationships. Humanity's relationship with God and human relationships with each other. It emphasizes love, forgiveness, reconciliation, and community. The greatest commandments, according to Jesus, are to love God and to love your neighbor. This relational aspect makes the Bible incredibly practical and relevant for navigating the complexities of human interaction and building meaningful connections. Fact number 34 discusses the Bible's use of symbolism and metaphor. Throughout its pages, the Bible employs rich imagery, allegories, and symbolic language to convey deeper spiritual truths. From parables like the sower and the prodigal son, to prophetic visions filled with symbolic beasts and numbers, understanding these literary devices is crucial for interpreting its message. These layers of meaning allow the Bible to speak to different levels of understanding and resonate across cultures and time periods. Fact number 35 highlights the Bible's unique approach to history. Unlike purely secular historical accounts, the Bible presents history from a divine perspective, interpreting events through the lens of God's interaction with humanity. It's not just a record of what happened, but an explanation of why, revealing God's purposes and moral judgments embedded within historical narratives. This theological interpretation of history is a hallmark of biblical writing, giving meaning to seemingly random events. Fact number 36 draws attention to the Bible's emphasis on personal transformation. A core message of the Bible is the possibility of personal change and spiritual renewal. Through repentance and faith, individuals are invited to experience a radical transformation of character and purpose, aligning their lives with God's will. This journey of transformation, often described as being born again or sanctification, is a continuous process guided by biblical principles and the power of the Holy Spirit. Finally, fact number 37 considers the Bible's invitation to wisdom. Beyond mere knowledge, the Bible offers profound wisdom for living a fulfilling and righteous life. Books like Proverbs and Ecclesiastes are dedicated to practical wisdom, offering guidance on decision-making, relationships, work, and morality. This wisdom is not just intellectual, it's experiential, aimed at shaping character and leading to a life of integrity and purpose. It remains an accessible guide for navigating life's challenges. Fact number 38 explores the Bible's consistent theme of justice. From the Old Testament laws emphasizing fairness and protection for the vulnerable to Jesus' teachings on social justice and mercy, the Bible consistently calls for righteousness and equity. It speaks out against oppression, corruption, and exploitation, holding individuals and societies accountable to a higher moral standard. This pursuit of justice is deeply embedded in God's character and is a foundational principle for ethical living and governance. Fact number 39 highlights the Bible's influence on Western law. Many legal systems in Western societies have been profoundly shaped by biblical principles, particularly those found in the Ten Commandments and Mosaic law. Concepts like the sanctity of life, the importance of truth in testimony, and the protection of property rights can trace their roots back to biblical texts. This historical connection demonstrates the Bible's lasting impact beyond religious belief, influencing the very structure of civil society. Fact number 40 points to the Bible's role in inspiring art and music. For centuries, biblical narratives, characters, and themes have served as a rich source of inspiration for countless masterpieces in art, literature, and music. From Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel to Handel's Messiah, and from Milton's Paradise Lost to countless hymns and spirituals, the Bible has provided a universal language for creativity and expression, shaping cultural landscapes across the globe. Its stories continue to resonate with artists today. Fact number 41 discusses the Bible's emphasis on forgiveness. A central tenet of both the Old and New Testaments is the concept of forgiveness. Both God's forgiveness of humanity and the human call to forgive one another. This theme is crucial for reconciliation, healing, and spiritual freedom. Jesus' sacrifice is presented as the ultimate act of forgiveness, offering redemption to all who believe, and believers are encouraged to extend that same grace to others. Fact number 42 brings up the Bible's teaching on stewardship. The Bible teaches that humanity is entrusted with the care of creation, serving as stewards of the earth and its resources. This concept implies responsibility, not ownership, reminding people to manage the planet wisely and sustainably. It underscores the interconnectedness of all life and calls for respect for the natural world as God's handiwork, advocating for responsible environmental practices. Fact number 43 reveals the Bible's prophetic accuracy. Many scholars and believers point to the fulfillment of biblical prophecies as evidence of its divine inspiration. These prophecies range from detailed predictions about the Messiah to the rise and fall of nations and empires, often written centuries before their occurrence. While interpretations vary, the sheer number and specificity of these prophecies continue to be a subject of intense study and discussion. Fact number 44 considers the Bible's global reach. Translated into more languages than any other book, the Bible has reached virtually every corner of the world. This widespread translation effort has made its message accessible to billions, transcending linguistic and cultural barriers. Its universal themes of love, hope, sin, and redemption resonate with people regardless of their background, making it a truly global phenomenon. Fact number 45 highlights the Bible's practical wisdom for daily living. Beyond its spiritual teachings, the Bible offers practical advice on a wide range of everyday matters, including parenting, marriage, finances, work ethic, and dealing with adversity. Books like Proverbs are filled with aphorisms designed to guide individuals toward wise decisions and a prosperous life, proving its relevance to the mundane as well as the profound. Fact number 46 discusses the Bible's use of parables. Jesus frequently taught using parables, simple stories with deeper spiritual meanings. These parables, such as the Good Samaritan or the lost sheep, made complex theological concepts accessible to common people, inviting them to reflect and discover truth for themselves. This teaching method remains an effective way to convey profound messages in an engaging and memorable way. Fact number 47 explores the Bible's dynamic nature. Despite being an ancient text, the Bible is seen by believers as a living word, capable of speaking afresh to each generation and individual. Its truths are considered timeless and applicable to contemporary challenges, offering guidance and comfort in an ever-changing world. This dynamic quality ensures its continued relevance and power to transform lives. Fact number 48 points to the Bible's emphasis on community. The Bible consistently promotes the idea of community, whether it's the nation of Israel in the Old Testament or the Church in the New Testament. It teaches the importance of fellowship, mutual support, and collective worship, emphasizing that faith is often best lived out in relationship with others. This communal aspect provides a sense of belonging and shared purpose. Fact number 49 reveals the Bible's encouragement of personal reflection. While shared in community, the Bible also deeply encourages personal study, meditation, and prayer. It invites individuals into a personal relationship with God, fostering introspection and spiritual growth. This balance between communal and individual faith allows for a rich and multifaceted spiritual journey. Finally, fact number 50 brings us to the Bible's enduring mystery. Despite centuries of study, commentary, and archaeological discovery, the Bible continues to hold mysteries and inspire new insights. Its depth and complexity mean that there is always more to learn, more to understand, and new ways for its truths to unfold. This ongoing sense of discovery contributes to its lasting appeal and keeps scholars and believers engaged. As we've journeyed through these 50 surprising facts, it becomes clear that the Bible is far more than just an ancient religious text. It's a complex tapestry of history, prophecy, wisdom, and personal stories that has profoundly shaped human civilization. Its enduring intrigue, cultural significance, and ability to speak to the human condition across millennia are truly remarkable. Whether you approach it from a spiritual, historical, or literary perspective, the Bible continues to offer a rich and inexhaustible source of knowledge and wonder for anyone willing to explore its pages. Its influence is undeniable, and its mysteries continue to captivate, making it a book unlike any other.